My lord was destined to lead us unto a glorious new age. Your light is nothing to his radiance.
Final Fantasy XIV is a role-playing game where you play as the Warrior of Light, an adventurer from the nation of Eorzea who is destined to save the world from all sorts of evils. Being a fantasy role-playing game, the game has no shortage of epic moments, where you fight men and gods alike in the never-ending fight against evil. But while the story has plenty of action, the darker, more emotional moments in the story are no less powerful, because of how they mirror the struggles currently ongoing in our own world. One of these storylines in the game comes when the player and the main group of characters are leading a secret expedition into an enemy nation, Garlemald, in order to overthrow their tyrannical dictator. Up until this point, Garlemald has been one of the major antagonistic forces in the story, and the Eorzean expedition expects to encounter a fierce resistance, but what the Eorzean expedition finds instead is a broken nation, with ordinary citizens terrified of the people come to save them from their emperor. The story takes a darker tone from this point onwards, as the expedition intended to kill the emperor has also taken upon the aim to aid the broken Garlean people as best as they can. However, the citizens resist this aid at every turn. The Garleans have been taught all their lives that Eorzea is a nation of savages, of barbaric magic users, who are inherently worse than Garleans. The citizens know nothing more than what they have been told by their government, and this propaganda given to them has led the people to have an unfounded hatred of the Eorzean people. The situation the Garlean citizens are in is not dissimilar to the situations of the citizens in North Korea. Citizens in North Korea have virtually no access to the outside world, and depend on government officials for their flow of information and education. The government is able to control this flow of information and shape people's mindsets on certain topics, such as their leaders' inarguable right to rule and the disapproval of non-Korean nations. The two key tenets of North Korean propaganda that are mirrored in Final Fantasy XIV are their leaders' divine right to govern and the idea that North Korea is a paradise above all other nations. The Garleans in Final Fantasy XIV are taught to despise the supposedly brutal Eorzean savages, and this idea of dictatorship propaganda affecting citizen worldviews is pushed to the forefront in the story of a young Garlean teenager named Licinia and her younger sister. During the expedition into Garlemald, the player and two of their friends encounter a group of young Garlean survivors after the ruling class withdrew to the capital and left the citizens to fend for themselves. After leaving the survivors to search for food in order to aid them, the three characters return to find Licinia and her sister gone from the settlement, having taken their chances in the wilderness rather than rely on the aid of the Eorzeans. Alarmed at finding this, the player rushes out to find Licinia before she or her sister gets injured by the winter weather or the many dangerous animals roaming the countryside.
Blood trail. We found one. They were attacked. No. Why wouldn't they? Safer to brave the wilds than trust in our magic.
The aftermath of the encounter highlights the extreme warping of the Garlean citizens' mindset due to the Garlean government propaganda, not unlike the propaganda given to North Korean citizens by their own government. The Garlean citizens would rather risk death in the dead of winter than wound their pride by accepting help from people they have always been told were inherently lesser than themselves. In the end, the expedition pushes on, and they try their best to find a way to help a misguided nation that has been harmed by those who they should have been able to rely on.
You had every reason not to trust us. We came as trespassers, invaders. But I pray that in time, we will be more than that to you, that we will find a way to help your loved ones, and see that no more children are left to freeze alone in the snow.